Yeah, I keep thinking about just like making our lives count, but really like only what is building eternity. Like the only thing that truly matters is eternity. Like that's what we were made for. And honestly, like it's so hard to comprehend because like it isn't like our flesh doesn't even understand, like we don't even understand heaven, and so it's so hard to live a daily life like for eternity when like we don't really even understand it in our flesh. But like that's part of Holy Spirit, like he helps us understand that like we really are living for eternity. And so like thank you that like when I look to you, like I can become and I am radiant with joy, and like my face will never be ashamed. And I think the way that the enemy really works in us is like, oh, you're going to regret that. Like, you're going to regret it if you don't, like, go hang out with your friends. And, like, there's so many girls that I've talked to through high school and college. There's like, well, we just don't want to, like, not do something and then, like, regret it later and, like, all this stuff. And, like, yeah, we have regrets on earth. But, like, truly, if we're living for, like, the day that we meet Jesus, like, are we really going to regret like not going to that party, or like are we really going to be thinking about like anything other than like what we did to like get to heaven? Not that we earned it, but like what we did to build the kingdom and bring others with us. Like that really is to know Jesus and make him known is our purpose in life. And that's what we just read in that psalm, like that he gives us he fulfills our whole purpose. And so really when you put it into that perspective and you like read Psalms and you're like, taste and see that the Lord is good, like how happy is the person who takes refuge in him. You who are his holy ones, fear the Lord, for those who fear him lack nothing. And like that's throughout the whole book of Psalms. Like when we're praying these, like just pray for Holy Spirit to like change our perspectives, because we live in a culture that is so like me first, go do it all, like make sure you get it all done before you graduate, before you get a job, like make sure it's all like you just live it up until like then you have to get married and you have to have kids, so like you want to go ahead and like do it all now. And like that's not living for eternity, that's living for ourselves, and that's only allowing the enemy to like into your lives even more. And this weekend we heard like that the kingdom in us is so much greater than the culture that we're in, the culture around us. And like when we really live for that perspective and we're praying Psalms every day and really like the whole Bible, like if we're really living and praying the entire Bible, which is like why we know and we want you to know that like prayer is so important, because it's literally like our lifeline.
It is, because this is God and this is putting him in us every day. So it's just like what Amy was talking about, was if you don't have that eternity mindset, like that's okay. It's not okay forever, but it's okay for now, because as you say, okay, well, I know it needs to be here, so what I can do is just do what I'm supposed to do. It's kind of like you obey first and the feelings follow. I've always heard that, like just do it and then the feelings will follow.
I wish that when I was y'all's age, I would have had the perspective to realize like, I was always told like, is this going to matter in 5 years? Is this going to matter in 10 years? Like, I always had that. But, like, truly, like, we were made for eternity. So, like, is this going to matter in heaven? Like, that's what we should be asking ourselves. Not, like, really, is this going to matter in 10 years? Like, that is a good point to make. But, like, because we have future on the earth also that needs to be productive and, like, needs to be worth it. And, like, yeah. And so it's not that doesn't matter. But, like, our ultimate perspective should be like, is this really going to matter in heaven? Like, am I going to
affect eternity?
Am I going to see Jesus face to face and like wish I had done this, or like wish I hadn't done this? Like there's those two things. And I think like I really didn't see that until definitely the last 2 years, but really recently, like just in the last couple months, I feel like I've really been able to like realize like it's not really going to matter unless it matters in eternity. And I think when you get to that, the pressure is off. Like the pressure is off on what college you go to, or if you do go to college, or what sorority you're in, or what team you make, or what circle of friends you are in school. Like all of those things are ways that God uses us, and he uses us in all of that to show his glory and to build his kingdom. But like in the end, our identity and our purpose in life like is not wrapped up in that. And I think when we see that, like we are released from every single tension and every single pressure and all the expectations that we just literally let build up in our lives so much that if we feel like if we make one mistake then it's all over. Like that's not Holy Spirit. That's not Jesus at all. Like that's not what the Psalms like at all like doesn't say anything about that. It says how radiant are those who like look to him. And like that's what we were meant for. And that's the difference in living and walking in the world and living and walking in the Word.
But you will always have the persecution when you choose God's ways, because he says he chooses the foolishness of the world to shame the wise.
Yeah.